Hi, I'm Riley, and my mother-in-law, Carol, has always hated me. She thought I was the wrong influence on her precious son. On my 30th birthday, she decided to eliminate that influence, with handcuffs and false accusations. The day started like any other birthday, coffee in hand, scrolling through sweet messages from friends. My husband, Tom, had left early for work, promising to be home in time for the small party we planned. Just family and close friends. Or so I thought. Carol had other plans. She'd always been difficult ever since Tom introduced me 5 years ago. According to her, I was too career-focused, not traditional enough, and generally unfit for the role of her son's wife. A real wife cooks dinner every night, she'd say when Tom mentioned my late meetings at the ad agency. In my day, we knew how to care for our husbands. Tom usually defended me, albeit weakly, with that apologetic tone I'd grown to resent. She means well. She's just old-fashioned. By noon, Carol had already thrown her wrench into the plans, texting me, "Hope you don't mind, dear, but I've invited a few family friends. And I'll be bringing my special cake, Tom's favorite. I'm sure the one you ordered is nice too." I clenched my jaw, but let it slide. It was my birthday after all. How bad could it get? By 6:30, the house was full. Carol had arrived early, commandeering my kitchen and rearranging everything I'd carefully planned. Her cake took the prime spot on the table while mine was shoved aside like an afterthought. "Riley, dear," she called sweetly as guests buzzed around. "Could you help me with something in the guest room?" I should have known. The whispers, the sly glances, the way she'd been shadowing me all evening. But I followed her, eager to keep the peace. The room was dark when I stepped in. As I reached for the light switch, her voice sliced through the silence. "Now." The lights blazed on, and 2 police officers stepped out from behind the door. "That's her, officers," Carol said, her voice dripping with false authority. "I have proof she's been stealing from me." "What are you talking about?" I stammered, frozen in place. She pulled out her phone, showing what looked like security footage. A figure eerily similar to me, rifling through drawers at her house. The timestamp was last Tuesday when I'd been in meetings all day. "Officers, this is absurd," I protested. "Mrs. Thompson," one officer said, "we need you to come with us." The cold metal of handcuffs bit into my wrists as Carol's face remained emotionless. Downstairs, the music drowned out my shouts for Tom. When I was finally led through the party, every head turned. Guests stared, murmured, some even gasped. At the bottom of the stairs, Tom appeared, his face twisted in confusion and horror. "Mom, what's going on?" he demanded. "She's been stealing from me," Carol said, her voice breaking with perfect distress. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence, I had no choice. "Riley wouldn't," Tom began, but her tears and trembling hands silenced him. As the officers escorted me out, I caught the faintest flicker of triumph in Carol's eyes. Her victory was complete. The last thing I heard before the door closed was her syrupy voice, thick with manufactured grief. "I warned you, Tom. I tried to tell you about her character." Sitting in the back of the police car, I watched the house shrink into the distance. My birthday turned into the ultimate act of her revenge. The holding cell was freezing, its sterile walls pressing in on me. I sat there in my birthday dress, shivering and replaying every interaction with Carol in my mind, searching for clues I might have missed. Detainees came and went, their murmurs blending with the hum of the fluorescent lights. "Mrs. Thompson," an officer finally appeared. "Your husband's here with your lawyer." Tom entered first, his tie loose and his eyes shadowed with exhaustion. Behind him was David Chen, our family attorney, his briefcase in hand. "The footage is troubling," David began, glancing at the file. "It looks like you're rifling through Carol's jewelry drawers. But here's the thing, the timestamp shows Tuesday at 3 p.m. Can you account for that time?" I sat up straighter. "I was in the Peterson account meeting. 20 people can verify that." David nodded. "Already checked. We've got written statements from your colleagues. The charges won't hold in court. But Carol's played this smart. Your reputation is already under fire." Tom paced, running a hand through his hair. "Mom insists she has proof. She showed me the missing jewelry, receipts for their value." "Tom," I interrupted, my voice sharp. "Think, your mother has hated me from the start. Last Christmas, she accused me of losing her recipe book, only to find it in her own drawer. This isn't new. David's phone buzzed, breaking the moment. He glanced at the screen. Good news. The judge approved your release. Bad news. Carol's already on social media spreading her story. Tom groaned as we left the station. The ride home was silent, his hands gripping the steering wheel. Finally, he spoke. I should have seen this coming. Mom's been off since Dad died. She's gotten more controlling, but this is a whole new level. Our house was dark except for the porch light. Inside, remnants of the interrupted party lingered. Half-empty glasses, a sagging banner, and Carol's cake still sitting center stage on the table. In a flash of anger, I grabbed the cake and dumped it into the trash. Riley, Tom protested, startled. No, I said, my voice steady. Your mother had me arrested at my own birthday party. I'm done. No more pretending this is okay. That night, I stayed up documenting everything. Carol's manipulations, her false accusations, her countless attempts to undermine me. Then a thought struck me like lightning. Tom, I said, turning to him. Your dad's study at Carol's house. Has she touched it since he passed? No, he said slowly. She keeps it locked up. Why? Because your dad was obsessed with security. He had cameras everywhere, including, Tom's eyes widened as realization hit, including the room where the jewelry was stolen. The next morning, I made a call to Sarah, my college roommate and a digital forensics expert. Sarah, I need help. Can you analyze some security footage for tampering? Send it over, she said. If there's anything shady, I'll find it. As we waited, a new text from Carol popped up on my phone. Riley dear, I hope you understand why I had to do this. Family reputation is everything. If you apologize publicly, we can put this behind us. I handed the phone to Tom. His jaw tightened as he read it. Mom's gone too far this time. A few hours later, Sarah called back. Riley, the footage is absolutely tampered with. Sloppy job too. They didn't even cover the digital artifacts properly. Can you recover the original? I asked, heart pounding. Already did. And you're going to love this. The footage from Tuesday. It shows something very interesting. Sarah's voice crackled through the phone, steady but electric with urgency. The original footage shows Carol and her friend Margaret entering the room on Tuesday. They spent about 20 minutes there, and Carol was clearly placing items in a large purse. I froze, the weight of her words sinking in. She staged her own theft, I whispered, the disbelief giving way to fury. Tom didn't hesitate. Grabbing his car keys, he said, We're going to my mother's. Now. When we arrived, Carol greeted us with her usual practice sweetness, but it faltered the moment Tom demanded to see his father's study. She immediately grew defensive, her voice rising. Tom, how dare you? That room is private, your father's memory. Tom cut her off. I have a key, Mom. Don't make this worse. Ignoring her protests, we unlocked the study and stepped inside. It felt untouched, like a shrine to Tom's late father. But in the desk drawer, among old documents and keepsakes, we found it. Every piece of the stolen jewelry Carol had accused me of taking. Unbelievable, I muttered, my hands trembling as I held the items. But the real bombshell was on the study's computer. Weeks of untouched security footage revealed everything. Carol and Margaret plotting together, practicing with editing software, discussing how to frame me, and even rehearsing Carol's dramatic breakdown at my party. On one video, Carol's voice was crystal clear. I'll have her arrested right in front of everyone. Tom will finally see the truth about the kind of woman he married. Tom sat motionless, his jaw clenched, watching his mother's schemes unfold on screen. With every clip, his face darkened, the betrayal cutting deeper. We were so engrossed that we didn't hear her footsteps until she burst into the study. Carol's face went ghostly pale when she saw the monitor. Tom, sweetheart, she stammered, her voice faltering. I can explain. Tom turned to her, his voice cold and sharp. Explain what, Mom? How you framed my wife. Had her arrested at her own birthday party? This is beyond anything I could have imagined. Her mask of composure cracked. She's not right for you. Carol shrieked. She's turning you away from family traditions from me. I did this for you, for us. No, Mom, Tom said, his voice trembling with controlled rage. You did this to yourself, and now you'll face the consequences. Carol's pleas fell on deaf ears as we left the house, armed with all the evidence we needed. In the days that followed, Carol and Margaret were charged with filing false police reports, evidence tampering, and defamation. The fallout was seismic. The family splintered. Some rallied behind Carol, convinced she'd been misunderstood, while others were horrified and cut ties entirely. Tom and I made the decision to move across town, away from the chaos and his mother's toxic influence. I agreed, but with one non-negotiable condition. We'd host a proper 30th birthday party at our new home. When the day finally arrived, I stood in our sunlit kitchen, carefully arranging my birthday cake in the center of the table where it belonged. This time, there was no Carol to overshadow the moment, no hidden agenda lurking in the background. As I sealed the last of the party invitations, a notification popped up on my phone. It was a reminder of Carol's upcoming court date. Without hesitation, I swiped it away and returned to writing the addresses. Tom walked in, wrapping his arms around me. "Happy real birthday, honey," he murmured. I smiled, leaning into him. This is how it should have been all along. Looking back, I realized Carol had unwittingly given me a gift, a birthday present unlike any other. She'd shown her true colors, not just to me, but to everyone, especially Tom. In her efforts to ruin my life, she destroyed her own relationship with her son. Sometimes karma doesn't need plotting or revenge. Sometimes it's as simple as the truth finally coming to light through security cameras, an unraveling plan, and a mother-in-law far too confident in her own schemes. And as I looked around our home, filled with people who loved and supported me, I realized one thing. Living well isn't just the best revenge, it's the only one that truly matters.